Today, as we mentioned at the top of the show, is the 70th anniversary of the attack on Pearl Harbor.
2,400 people lost their lives on December 7th, 1941. Before dawn today, the lines outside the Pearl Harbor Memorial were already long. More than 3,000 expected to attend today's anniversary ceremonies. And it could be one of the last with actual Pearl Harbor survivors. Of the 344 USS Arizona survivors, only 35 are known to be still alive. Don Stratton was a 19-year-old sailor on board the Arizona when the attack began.
That ball of fire went about 600 or 700 feet in the air. I was burned over 65% of my body. It's been a long time. Rest in peace, shipmates.
More than 1,100 men were killed during the attack on Pearl Harbor, and many are still entombed below the Arizona Memorial.
And on this 70th anniversary, we're taking time to honor our own local Pearl Harbor survivor.
Andy Choi joining us now with why a Verona man hopes the memory of the event is never lost. Andy?
You know, global events today feature mobile uploads, lightning-fast tweets, and cell phone photography. But accounting the actions of the greatest generation takes time. And if there's anything the survivors of Pearl Harbor want, it's time to tell their story. If lunch is where small talk thrives, Robert Feller never got the message. Around a table of friends at the Verona Senior Center, Robert sits in silence. Not one word. Until we ask why.
This is Navy style.
A style the 90-year-old veteran has fashioned for 7 soft-spoken decades.
I don't like interviews.
A man of very few words.
It's Fort Island here at the air base in Pearl Harbor.
But there's one thing.
When I saw the plane coming in here, came in the wrong way. Our plane never did. I knew it was Japanese right away.
Robert is willing to talk about.
People won't know the story, really, unless somebody tells them.
The Japanese have attacked Pearl Harbor, Hawaii by air, President Roosevelt has just announced.
Sparing little detail.
There's men swimming in the burning water.
Robert's words bring color to the shores of Oahu.
And I saw this plane coming right at me, directly at me. And I thought he was going to gun me down.
The 20-year-old Navy messenger was on the USS Oglala, helping deliver news of the attack on Pearl Harbor.
Oh, let me see your hat. Oh my gosh, that's nice. Pearl Harbor survivors.
Robert's friend Edna Patrick had no idea. Not many did.
I've eaten lunches with Bob for quite a while now, and it's kind of hard to realize that he was over there.
As our veterans get older and older, the need to really relate the story becomes much bigger than their own inhibitions. And that's definitely where Bob is.
It's sunk right there.
Like the smoke from 70 years ago.
Something to remember.
Memories of a date living in infamy now fade along the horizons of time.
I'm still alive.
But for Robert Feller, the messenger who never said more than he needed to,
I'm proud of all this.
His final message is one he hopes the world takes time to listen to.
I want them to know about Pearl Harbor so that they never forget.
And those Pearl Harbor maps, books, and newspaper clippings all belong to Robert Feller. He says he's thinking about donating his collection someday to a group in Verona who would be willing to help preserve his accounts for future generations.
That would be such a wonderful gift for kids in school today,
Oh,
especially. He's 90 years old. 70 years later, the memories are still so crisp. And it got us talking today about how many Pearl Harbor survivors there still are. Is he the only one in Wisconsin?
I believe he's one of 2. But it's really hard to figure out just how many are still out there. Members of the Pearl Harbor Survivors Association started back in 1958 with 28,000 members, all who had been on Oahu during the attack. That number down to less than 3,000 nationwide. Because of those rapidly declining numbers, the group has decided to disband at the end of the year. And as you saw, Robert's friends had no idea that he was in Pearl Harbor. They've been having lunch for years. And so, you know, this is not part of the everyday vernacular, but when you ask, Robert has a lot to say.
And it needs to be heard.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Andy.
Thank you, Andy.